With the 2025 legislative session now in the rearview mirror, lawmakers, citizens, and lobbyists have had some time to reflect on a session that saw a lot of new faces.
One South Dakota organization has created its own scorecard. Grant Green has more from one state senator that received a failing score. Grant is in studio with us here at 6. Hello, Grant.
Hello, Brian and Andrea. And yeah, the Family Voice Action Organization is the group behind this scorecard, and they've been doing this since 2015. And here's a little bit about what bills the Christian-based group got behind in 2025. Family Voice Action Scorecard listed a variety of bills that the organization supported, and whether or not a lawmaker supported that bill affected their grade.
We take stands that benefit all families, no matter what their religious or political beliefs are. So we don't advocate necessarily that, this is what Scripture says, so this is how you should vote. We make arguments for this is how it would benefit South Dakota. This is how it would benefit the families in our state.
Among the bills listed include one that removes the exemptions for librarians that distribute what could be labeled as obscene material, another that prevents individuals from going into bathrooms that does not match their assigned gender, and a bill requiring age verification for explicit content online.
We don't need to make mistakes on purpose, and when you make it so that a 12-year-old can go on to any site anytime, look at anything they want, that's probably not a good idea.
Senator Carl Perry received a 100% score, but one lawmaker who received the lowest grade of any Republican senator says these were simply bills he could not get behind.
This scorecard isn't actually conservative. Real conservatives don't trample on the First Amendment by threatening to lock up librarians if a book offends them.
Director Norman Woods says this scorecard was not meant to attack any lawmaker, but assess how aligned the organization is with their values.
We like the Reagan quote of the person who agrees with you 80% of the time is a friend and an ally, not a 20% traitor. So let's say a legislator disagreed with us on this 10 Commandments bill. Well, that's okay. We can move forward to the next issue.
Woods says for 2026, he wants these lawmakers to come around on educational savings accounts, saying they will open up more opportunities for all students, no matter their economic standing or any disability.